What? So you like expect me to come up with something creative to say for the intro every day? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for a modern video, and today we are going to be playing with Tim's Hollow One deck list. Hollow One is a very powerful magic card despite really needing some setup to work. The idea is that this is a free 4/4. To make it free, you need to cycle or discard a total of 3 cards in a turn. And we have a couple of ways to do that: Burning Inquiry, as well as Goblin Lore. Now, conceptually, based on my experience with like Madness in Legacy, playing some of these similar cards, these random draw discard things often kind of screw you over. It is very possible to just have some nutso starts. So for example, Flame Blade Adept, whenever you cycle or discard a card, it gets +1/+0. So when you do this into one of these Burning Inquiry type cards, that can be a very large amount of damage quickly. And while Goblin Lore is not symmetrical, Burning Inquiry is, meaning that your Orcish Bowmasters can trigger a bunch of time, doling out a bunch of damage and creating a large Orc token. My experience based on the Legacy archetypes is that these style of decks tend to be clunky and don't quite work. Maybe there's enough to hold it together here. Inti is a powerful card. I'm going to read the bottom ability here. Whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step. So it's not just the Adept that is giving us additional boons for discarding cards. We have some amount of recursion from the graveyard, with Ox of Agonas being a draw 3 attached to a decent-sized body. It'll be a 5/3 if it escapes. We have Detective's Phoenix, which is a 2/2 flying haste creature, and you can bestow this from the graveyard for a single mana if you can collect Evidence 6, which is exiling cards with mana value 6 or greater from your graveyard, and luckily a bunch of these cards are quite expensive. But occasionally we're going to, like Burning Inquiry, discard all our copies of Hollow Ones and be sad pandas. There's a little bit of utility squeezed into the mana-based here. Haste on something like an Ox of Agonas is pretty nasty, and we also have the ability to connive. A notable card in the sideboard here is Fell. This is just 2 mana, destroy target creature. This is one of the more powerful versions of this effect. There are instant speed effects that miss some stuff, such as Go for the Throat, but if you absolutely just need a creature dead, Fell is a relatively strong option, and I've even seen it popping up in some Legacy lists. So folks, should you need some cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Tales of Adventure is an awesome store. They have all sorts of high-end staples. You need dual lands, you need power, you need things for your next RCQ or whatever, they've got it. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order, and you also always get free shipping on their site. Final thing that I want to say here, in my experience, these styles of decks aren't exactly the most objectively powerful. They often require really tight sequencing to be played at a reasonable level. So I'm learning as I go here. I'm certainly going to miss stuff and not play this optimally, but we'll probably tighten up by the last couple of rounds. Okay, my opening hand does not have a land, and I don't think I'm going to risk it all on a Street Wraith cycle. My second hand is a little mid. I think on 6 I keep this. I'll probably just get rid of the Goblin Lore. Probably just get rid of the Goblin Lore. And I don't think I'm going to Burning Inquiry on 1. I think I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to try and find a Hollow One. We'll just put that into the graveyard. I don't need to pay the life to get through that draw. My opponent has revealed a Gigantha to start things off. So this is potentially going to be like a Boros energy deck. I'm worried that we're just going to be slower than that deck. Like, I'm going to be playing an Inti and passing the turn and then hoping that things get better. And my opponent might, like, Amped Raptor get into a thing immediately, or do some Ocelot Pride nonsense, create a bunch of blockers. That means my Inti doesn't get through easily. Although Trample helps. All right, Inti's dead. Oh, cool. I'm not facing down a creature immediately. That's really important for me. Oh, my opponent did not want Ajani. That card seems good to me on current board. All right. I can Burning Inquiry try to hit some hollow ones that can be pretty large. I just don't feel like my resources are all that great right now. Like, the Inti's slow, the Detective's Phoenix is not the best. I'm going to try to hit some hollow ones here. I think I am going to Burning Inquiry prior to making this land drop. Okay, there is a hollow one. Fantastic. Let's cycle this. Cool. Hollow one is free. I can just attack. So red, 5, and 6. Just give this haste. Attack for 6. Okay. We rolled the dice that turn. I'm happy with where that ended up overall. This is just a 2-turn clock. Static Prison could be something that gets rid of my hollow one. That happens, I still have the Detective's Phoenix. Yeah, we might win this one. I also just have, like, Bolt, Underworld, Breach You, Bolt You as something that could reasonably happen in the not too distant future. So I guess that's cool. Okay, it is Static Prison. My opponent gets rid of the hollow one. I still have this 2/2 haster in play, though. There's an energy. Amped Raptor now. Hitting Galvanic Discharge. What a disaster. My opponent now has 8 energy. Hollow one's never fucking coming back, folks. Never. Hold that for next turn, probably. Try to get my additional damage out of it. And I think I probably end up lightning bolting this. Wait, do I want haste? Oh fuck, I might want haste. Yeah? Like, get my power. Draw a card. Do this. 5 and 6. Done? Bash for 4. Attempt to kill my opponent next turn? At least in theory. We have enough toughness so that we're living through a Flage trigger. Maybe this is going to aggro. Ooh, Arena of Glory. Exerted. Oh fuck, I did not notice there was a Flage in Graveyard. Oh my god, I made my opponent discard that. Didn't I? Oh, I missed that. I might be dead. Yeah, the Flage just alone kills me, right? The Flage is just 12 damage. Fuck, I missed that. Wow. Yeah, no. Dead. Ugh. Okay, so what do we have here? You're a pinger, right? Yeah, you're for, like, storm stuff. Pyroclasm sound really good. Bell sounds medium. I have minimal games with this to know how exactly I adjust this shell. Like, what are the weakest links? This is a 2 of. That is probably expendable. I expect the matchup to be kind of short in one direction or the other. I could maybe go down some Oxen or something here. Like Flameblade, Inti, Detective Phoenix, Hollow One are conceptually, I think, what I'm doing. Maybe I need to be hating on the Flage, since I am forcing my opponent to discard. So on turn 2, I can cycle Street Wraith. That still costs 3. I don't think I like this one. Like, Pyroclasm is really good, but I think I want to have a real plan. This has a real plan. I'm going to keep this one. Maybe get rid of the Ox here. It would be cool to hit a random land off of this, like an untapped land. I'm going to cycle this one now accordingly. Negative. So I will Surveil. Ooh. Yeah, that's fine. Surveil lands entering tapped sometimes changes the pace of the game significantly. So I think I like Exert here. Play Flameblade Adept. It gets haste. Play Burning Inquiry. hopefully keep the hollow one, which I did not. Ooh, we got rid of 2 removal spells, though. So we're going to go to Punchies, and we'll Punchies for 4. I have a Phoenix in my graveyard that can come back next turn. No! I needed that for the crimes that I wanted to do. Street Wraith. Yeah, let's get deeper in the deck. Let's trust the deck here and try to Goblin lore rather than Orcish Bowmasters. Like, let's hit a hollow one, baby. Let's do it. Negative. We've got a Pyroclasm to clean up small creatures, but I am out of gas. I don't have something to throw Detective's Phoenix onto. Going down on some number of Ox of Agonas means that just blind discarding is slightly less likely to end up with something in graveyard. But all I need to do is rip a reasonable threat, give it haste, get in there, and we're still very competitive in this game. Opponent snags an energy. All right. We'd love to see another 1-drop played out that I just get to sweep up here. There's some tension between wanting to keep cards in hand to, like, get rid of via discard draw spells and wanting to cast this hollow one. I could 1-for-1 this creature right now. I'm going to try to get better value out of my Pyroclasm and pass the turn and just hope that my opponent walks into this Pyroclasm. Sometimes this goes poorly and my opponent ends up with a Planeswalker, but I think I want the value. I feel very behind, and I don't think a 1-for-1 removal spell is good enough for me to win this game. I want something that can help dig me out of, like, amped raptor nonsense. I'm at 12. Sure. 4 mana. Oh, fuck. 1-for-1 removal spell's looking real bad right now. I think this game's over. I think my opponent just wins. Ugh. I can do a hollow one with haste that deals no damage. I'm going to just play out a hollow one. I'm just going to cast it as a blocker. We're not going to use this for haste. We're going to pass the turn. We're going to hope to Pyroclasm away a decent number of creatures and then get in there with a hasty flying hollowed one that's a 6/6 and kill our opponent in 2 turns with the help of their One Ring. And if my opponent doesn't get energy, like, this can come back and help. This is an X3? No, it's an X2, so that will die to a Pyroclasm. Okay, it's not going anywhere then. Yeah. All right, so this is where this Pyroclasm is going to do work, though. But now the hope is that my opponent does not legend rule this creature, because that becomes quite awkward. Okay. That's a 1/3. I can kill that with double Pyroclasm if I need to. So much energy. Yeah. So I guess we'll Surveil. Goblin lore. That's probably not doing a lot right now. Let's get rid of that. So 1 and 2. Pyroclasm the board. This leaves a Drannith Magistrate. This is not doing anything. Now, I humorously lose my hollow one. I can't, like, bestow. So I guess we're just bashing in for 4. Oh, no. That's bad. So I can get rid of the Drannith Magistrate if I want access to Detective's Phoenix, but I think I just lose to the One Ring if I do that. I think the One Ring is just beating me anyway. It is just a very objectively powerful card. Some people have called for bans for that card within the context of Modern, where it is not oppressive in any one deck because it is in many, many decks. Something is about to hit me in the face with haste, and I don't like it. It is Amped Raptor. And note that this says your opponents. Ah, fuck, it's a Flage. So I take 3 from that. I take 6 from this. Flage can come down next turn. Oh, we're not done yet, apparently. Fuck. This Flage could come down now. And I am just dead on board. The Pyroclasm does not kill Flage. Oh, a new copy of the One Ring instead. That's fine. Like, the Flage trigger gets me next turn. I'll take my draw step in case there's something crazy that I'm not thinking about. But even a hasty Inti is not really gonna do it here. The Drannith Magistrate very clearly doing some work. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I could say all sorts of great things about them, but I'm just going to point to this number. I have 488 deck lists stored on this site. That should give you a feel for how I feel about this website. And if you were to go to my profile, you could see all the deck lists that I'm messing around with, including my EDH decks, and you can even see some of the deck lists I record with before they hit the channel. Ooh. Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Believe in the heart of the cards. Just hope to draw a hollow one with a shit ton of draws and loots. I guess that's reasonable? Question mark, question mark, question mark? Reminds me of some old Legacy decks where you had like a bunch of copies of Street Rates and Gataxian Probes and you didn't know exactly what your keep was when you kept it, but it maybe works out. I think I'm gonna Lightning Bolt myself here. Actually, maybe I don't. It's like just Orcish Bowmasters. But I guess there's this land. Okay, yeah. Burning Inquiry. We have a Phoenix in the bin. I do not currently have a castable creature. My opponent has discarded 2 lands. We have failed at finding a hollow one in our first set of cards. What about in our second set of cards, though? Goblin Lore. We have failed to find a hollow one. I guess next turn I can cast a Detective's Phoenix and start trying to play the game. But what, that was 7 draws from the spells plus a draw step, fail to find hollow one. That's not like crazy mathematically speaking, but it's not what we're looking for. We also didn't hit an Ox to discard. Kozilek's Command, is that Scry? And exile from graveyards? Sure, did that need to be done at that speed? Goblin Lore? I could take some risks with Arena of Glory. I don't think I'm going to do that, though. Goblin Lore. Fuck yeah. Alright, so there is a hollow one. There is a Detective's Phoenix. So untapped land, Detective's Phoenix, on hollow one. 6, 2, 4, 5, 6. Done. Combat. 6 hasty damage in the air. I am overall happy with this. This means that my opponent is now on a 2-turn clock due to the Stomping Ground. Uggin's Labyrinth puts my opponent on 5 mana for this turn. That's definitely scary. Glaring Fleshraker. Buckle up. How bad is it going to be? Is that the Adapt one that goes infinite with the black enchantment? It is. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on it, make a spawn. Got it. Now, my opponent does just die next turn. So I can have a 3-power Inti that could threaten to kill one of these if my opponent double blocked. I'm always just killing next turn, making that math a little weird. I think I'm fine with it, though. So Inti has haste. Go to combat. Clear attackers. Send in. Inti trigger. Discard the Ox. Target Inti. Underworld Breach. Don't quite need that right now. Okay, we are getting the double block. I believe that I am more afraid of Glaring Fleshraker, so I'm going to go ahead and kill that one. Okay, opponent is just going to physically absorb 1 damage. I have Trample. So 2 through from Inti, plus 6 from Hollow One. We'll put a fetch land in the graveyard. Then we'll Ox. Gonna cost me, I think, everything from the graveyard except the other Ox. Alright, so we Ox. I discard these lands. I draw 3 new cards. I get another Inti trigger now. There's a new Inti. And I'm out of mana, so that's what we've got. Right-click concede, please. Oh, we're still going. Uggin's Labyrinth, not a legendary land, despite, like, having a named character in it. They're digging. Oh, it's just a talisman. Now, this is mana neutral, right? Because talisman plus Eldrazi spawn equals 2 mana. Opponent has 2 cards remaining. I'm at 13 life. I'm only taking 2 or 3 damage in combat. Something unfair needs to happen, or my opponent needs a way to answer Hollow One while also not dying to, say, a trampling Ox of Agonas. Okay. Well, I just have direct lethal damage in hand. Accordingly, I'm not going to think about this very much. Let's turn these sideways. I will discard an Ox. My Ox gets Trample. There's a Street Wraith. That's fine. Please show me something that gets you through this combat. Pass priority. Like, get rid of my hollow one. Okay, no, that is something that gets rid of my hollow one. In response, lightning bolt your face. They took 1 damage off Talisman there to make the colored mana to Boseiju, so I didn't even need to use the Bowmasters. Alright, Obsidian Charmaw is land destruction, probably specifically for this matchup. Blood Moon seems great. Bell is probably playable. I don't know that I'm going to board it in. I'm already boarding in 4 cards. I'll probably go Breaches out. This is actually not a very good Orcish Bowmaster matchup either. What's a body on this? 1/4, eh. Like, I can just keep these as something to physically put the Detective's Phoenix body onto, and like, it still has Burning Inquiry synergies. But I think I'll play a couple more removal spells. I have a medium-looking opening hand that I believe that I'm going to just keep. Inti Street Wraith is a thing. Blood Moon is a thing. It's fine. It feels a little slow to me, if I'm being honest. Like, my opponent can just play a Talisman on turn 1, because there is sort of an Ancient Tomb parallel in this format now. Permanent cards and graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. Okay. Could be worse. That's a 1/4. That lives through this. Let's just get our Blood Crypt out of the way. That was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that. I should have just played Mountain and passed. Sometimes my opponent doesn't play a creature here, and I shock myself for no reason to keep Lightning Bolt available to be able to answer something like a Glaring Fleshraker. Oops, all moons. Inti and pass. Sometimes this is walking directly into a like Glaring Fleshraker, or not Glaring Fleshraker, Kozilek's Command. Yep, that's fine. Opponent not going for the spawns here to just turbo out mana as quickly as possible. I guess I'm grateful for that. That means I'm more likely to be able to play an impactful Blood Moon next turn. But I could be behind on board though. This makes spawns? That's actually really annoying. So the spawns are colorless cards, or colorless mana that is going to allow my opponent. Right, they get an Eldrazi Temple. Anyway, that is going to allow my opponent to cast a colorless card after I Blood Moon. I have to target something from their own graveyard here. Veil of Summer. Huh, okay. Well, yeah. This isn't perfect. We're doing it, but it's not perfect. So this constrains my opponent a little bit. You know, this is denying 3 mana this turn, but like Sowing Mycospawn is something that my opponent can play on 4 mana to just immediately tutor for another basic. So I kind of want to just bolt that Eldrazi spawn token, and then my opponent does not have actual colorless mana. I think I'm okay with that. It's a little weird. So we're just going to change phases here. If my opponent wants to crack that for a card draw, they do not. And then I will drop an Inti. All right, now they are drawing the card. Sure. Mountain. I think my opponent has discovered that they do not have colorless mana. I will take that 3. That's fine. 15. That is a Sowing Mycospawn. That's a mountain. Okay, my Blood Moon doing some work here. Ooh. We're going to go ahead and cycle this. What's the wording here? Can't cast non-creature spells from graveyard or exile, so I can still play this mountain. I suppose that I will do so. You currently cost 3? That's fine. Go to combat, send it. I think I'm going to discard the redundant Inti. Although, if this sticks around, it's real good. It just keeps growing. Maybe I'll discard the Flameblade Adept. So we're going to make Inti bigger. Land to exile. I'm going to get my read on my opponent's value of their cards. Okay. They are into not blocking. Take 3. 17. Hollow 1 is 1 mana right now, due to the Street Wraith and the Inti trigger. So we're going to cast that. That lives through these. I think I can wait to Lightning Bolt for a turn. And I am just going to put in a redundant Blood Moon. That way, if my opponent draws something like a Boseiju that gets rid of one of these, I am not opening up Devour of Destiny level threats. Talisman's fine. My opponent has red and green mana already. Line. Oh, fuck. That gave them colorless. That's very bad, actually. I can bolt that. I get rewarded for not taking out one of these. Am I okay with trading? No. I think I'm just going to take this 6. Oh, that talisman was bad. That's another one of those. 6 damage showing. Another line breaker would not be great. I think I'm the beatdown, though. I think this game is no longer favoring me as it goes long. Discard the land. Counter on Inti. Wraith. I'll let my opponent double block if they want to. Yeah, they don't want to block. Go to 9. I'm going to go ahead and just fire this off now. Yeah. I'm dead to another line breaker. Or anything else that can deal me a direct damage. My opponent's colorless mana is opening up, so let's try to end this one. Okay. That is just an attack for 3. I'm at 4. Blade of the Blood Chief. Oh, that goes infinite with the Broodscale Duder? Sure. Didn't my opponent had lethal? 3? No, sorry. It's +1/+1 when a creature dies. Okay. Got it. So whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this. We don't have vampires. So my opponent could block once, get a +1/+1 counter, and then have 3/4 incoming damage. So I cannot attack with both of my creatures, or I die. Let's send in with Inti. I believe I am willing to discard the land. Get my +1/+1 counter. Goblin lore. Alright, opponent takes 5. Goes to 4. Can't cast this. I don't think I want to play this as an additional blocker. I'm going to pass the turn. I'm very close to dead. Like, my opponent playing anything that generates a spawn gets me to dead, for example. Punt? Equip here. My opponent deals 4 damage to me and kills me this turn. I get to trade with this creature now. Now, my opponent gains some life, so, like, this is still bad. Like, Blade of the Blood Chief triggers twice. My opponent can move their equipment. But I was dead. And now I am not dead. So, if I send Inti in and Inti gets through, my opponent dies to Lightning Bolt. If I hold back, I'm not technically dead, but things are getting very actively worse for me. If my opponent blocks with Soulless Jailer, hopefully an Inti card comes online. Oh, this is rough. I think I am taking the risk and going in, and we'll see how my opponent evaluates this situation. I do not believe that this game is getting better for me. Discard Inti. Put counter here. I would love to see a creature off this. Nice. Ooh, it is the double block. So it's my choice about what happens here. This unfortunately results in me dying, right? So I kill Myco Spawn, Soulless Jailer triggers 3 power, equipment 4 power. This was a creature that I can't cast, even if I get rid of Soulless Jailer, because I have 4 mana, not 5. I don't have an Ox in here. I don't have a Phoenix in here. I end up just short. Cool game. Just for giggles. I draw another Lightning Bolt. That's not the best. Inti trigger. This one was not getting better for me. Okay. Do I really not have the ability to answer artifacts? Wild. Okay. I believe in Hollow One. It has a Devour of Destiny trigger. Do I need to cycle Street Wraith for any reason? I guess I could get deeper into the deck and end up looking at another Hollow One. Alright, you ready? You ready for me to discard both of my Hollow Ones? Alright, I only discarded one of my Hollow Ones. Okay. We have a Hollow One in play, and no real good follow-up play, unfortunately. We did not discard any graveyard-oriented things. I did not put the 8 power in play that I was hoping to put into play. We can maybe Goblin lore our way through this. I don't love that. Detective's Phoenix. Okay. Yes. More hollow ones, please. Well, I found a hollow one, and I discarded it. I don't have mana for Detective's Phoenix right now. Kept the Ox in hand, unfortunately. Hit for 4. Opponent's at 16. The next turn, we can do something like Inti. Potentially Inti with haste, even. Opponent can get a Soul Guide Lantern. And they do. Which they can play immediately and take out my Phoenix. Not great for me. Hopefully Inti can just carry the remainder of this game, though. Hasty Inti? I like Hasty Inti. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, I need to do this differently. Cancel. Exert. Hasty Inti. Combat. Attacks. Send in for 6, which will actually be 7. I'll discard Ox. Just like make my opponent think about messing with my graveyard immediately. Let's make the Inti bigger. Want that to be able to attack through like Sowing Myco spawns. Ox not castable this turn. Opponent's at 9. And pass. Essig Wolf Run. Standard all-star of the past. There's a Sowing Myco spawn. I'm going to be able to attack through that. Opponent has a little more mana to work with. Choosing to nuke my graveyard immediately. So we can try to put Detective's Phoenix into the graveyard with enough gas to do the thing immediately. Let's try. No. Let's try that. So yeah. Goblin lore. Inti triggers. Burning Inquiry. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in graveyard here, so I can't get this in this turn. I guess that means I'm probably doing this post-combat. I don't think I need to do it pre-combat for any reason. I can look at what happens with the Inti first. I'll discard this land. This land is not super relevant anymore. So counter on Inti. Oh, fuck yeah, it's a hollow one. Love to see that. Opponent just absorbing damage here. Going to 5. I play a free hollow one. I will Burning Inquiry afterwards. Hit a land. I have 2 Detective's Phoenixes in graveyard. I have multiple creatures. Feels good. How much evidence do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not counting the Detective's Phoenix itself. That is a Kozilek's command taking out one of my creatures and exiling some things from graveyards. I still have, in theory, lethal damage available. Yeah, no, we get there. GG's. Okay, opening hand looks like a keep to me. We are probably going to play something that looks very close to a true aggro game here. Just Adept into Adept, cycle some cards, Goblin lore, big punchies. Should be fun. Mirror match, question mark? Oh shit, mirror match. Okay, not exact mirror match. Nethergoyf is some cool tech. 2 Ox of Agonas hit the yard. Nice. I don't have a second land anymore. Yeah. Pass turn, and hopefully I end up doing a hollow one next turn. Fetch land? This was not on my game plan for today. So this one's one-sided. You have hollow ones? No, you have Mishra's Bauble. That's fine. We're looking to avoid like a hollow one here. Land would be so good. Fuck yeah. So, yeah. Cycle. Oh, let's just always yield to that. Oh, Masters is cool, but I think I would like to go big punchies and put a hollow one in play. Well, we discarded a hollow one, but luckily I got another one. So I will cast a hollow one, go to punchies. I get 5 damage in immediately. My opponent is at 11, facing down 2 bodies and a Detective's Phoenix for haste. If I get another land, we could even do something like Ox with haste, which discards a bunch of cards for the Adept. Oh, DRC. Good fit in this shell. I like what my opponent's putting out here. So there is a Detective's Phoenix. My opponent will have a 5/5 flying haster. It does have to attack. Hopefully my opponent's pretty close to dead though. Okay. The Lightning Bolt plus Goblin lore is just lethal. If Flameblade Adept lives, which it might not, like I should expect Lightning Bolt to hit that. How many cards in my graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This could be 7. We're not quite immediately to bring back Ox. I'm going to just fetch while I'm thinking. I don't know what removal spells I need to play around. Like, do I have to be concerned about Murderous Cut? Okay, I think my opponent just physically stepped away from the computer for a while. Let's grab a mountain. I literally don't remember what I was doing anymore. Let's do something like this. Put Detective's Phoenix on that. Dunk 2 things from graveyard to do so. So that can go ahead and crash in. So I am going to swing in for theoretical lethal here and see if one of my creatures gets bolted or something. It is a fatal push instead. Sure. Like I said, I didn't know what removal spells I was playing around. So this hits my opponent for 5. Lightning Bolt isn't quite lethal. I pretty easily should have lethal next turn. I have a blocker for the DRC if I have to. Bobble. Opponent can see my next card. No big deal. My opponent has exactly 2 cards remaining. If I see one of those cards, I don't need to play around double Lightning Bolt to the face by blocking with Detective's Phoenix. And if I don't see one of those cards, I will probably block so I don't die to double Lightning Bolt, which would be 11 total with the 5 from DRC. So my opponent tapped out for a 3-drop. I am going to play around the Lightning Bolts. I think I just win this one if I don't die immediately. This also just puts this card into the graveyard to mean that I can put it on these creatures next turn. Okay, and there we get the concession. Cool. So in this pseudo mirror, I believe I have some graveyard hate in the form of unlicensed Hearse. That seems really strong. Magebane Lizard. Don't think I want Blood Moon. Bell is okay. Pyroclasm, probably not good. What's bad? I'm boarding out this Underworld Breach every time. And then do I want Bell? Bell lines up poorly versus things like Nethergoyf that can just come back. It is also a sorcery, which isn't the great versus the Detective Phoenix nonsense. I think I'm comfortable with this. Okay, my opponent kept their 7-card hand. I have one of my 2 copies of Graveyard Hate available. I'm going to keep this one. I probably have tapped land on turn 1 into Shock, Blood Crypt, Hearse turn 2. That is my current game plan, and Hearse lines up super well versus a Nethergoyf start. Humorously, my Surveil land will... No, it won't grow the Nethergoyf. This one is just your graveyard. Hell yeah. Ooh. Now I can play a Flameblade Adept on 1. Let's do so. It is a good distraction. I don't super care about this card. Like, I have more powerful things to do than this. And I would be okay with my opponent spending their mana and resources to get rid of this Flameblade Adept when it doesn't actually matter. That is a 4/5 creature and a hollow one. Sure, so the hollow one is a little annoying, but hopefully Unlicensed Hearse just ends up growing larger than that over time. So yeah, and yeah. So we can currently take out creature and instant from my opponent's graveyard at the same time, but my opponent has a chance to play their turn, right? So we may end up being a little too slow. Orcish Bowmasters represents a couple turns worth of blocks on hollow ones. Yes, that's not great. This is crew 2, so I can't even crew right now, even if I wanted to. So I can take out creature from my opponent's graveyard, and then I guess I'm going to go with the Goblin lore. Sure. This is a lot of damage. My Goblin lore is not fantastic right now. I'm going to Bowmaster, kill this. Probably just do that now. Oh, I have to shock for that. Oh, this is tight. Okay. Go to 5. I think I am just going to Bowmaster, ping, kill this immediately. Wait, what if I... Fuck, did I mess up by not Lightning Bolting Nethergoyf first? A Lightning Bolt, Nethergoyf, get rid of Goblin lore. No, I did not. Pass turn. I need a little time here. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. My unlicensed hearse is almost at the point of being able to keep the graveyard in check. Emphasis on the almost, though. I think I am double blocking Lightning Bolt, trade with Hollow One, eat with unlicensed hearse, and hope to do something cool from there. I think there's a little too much risk in just going into the Lightning Bolt range here. Yup. Yep. Opponent is putting cards into graveyard faster than I can take them out. Ugh. I can answer one Hollow One, like so. Unlicensed hearse. Probably lose to this if that stays in there. Getting rid of artifacts and creatures at the same time might matter. Let's go Ox Hollow One. This is symmetrical, which is rough here. I think I'm just going to play the thing that, in theory, can keep me alive. Inti. Inti is a dude. We'll keep the dude. Put on top. Play a defensive Phoenix. And pass. So my unlicensed hearse can be a 6/6 creature this turn. That's symmetrical. Alright. There's that Inti we knew about. Is that the eating graveyard thing? Yeah. Okay, no, that makes sense. Ooh, fuck. Flying. Yep. And due to how priority works, I did not have a chance to eat that. Fly in for 6. Okay. Sure. So I can block that, take 4-ish damage. So have to block to stay alive. Then unlicensed hearse. I can eat land to decrease the power of this. Creature also works. Creature also works. And my Burning Inquiries do not feel good. I don't know that I get to sideboard them out or anything. They are kind of critical to playing my own Hollow Ones, but when my opponent has active Nethergoyf, Burning Inquiry is very much a liability on my end. I'm not going to 15 to dead my opponent. So I need to somehow do Detective Phoenix nonsense to stay alive. So the Detective Phoenix can go to the graveyard, and that's how I get flying. Can I decrease this thing's power to 1? I can play one creature. I can Inti Phoenix on it. I need to play a second creature somehow. An activation can decrease this thing's power to 2. That's not good enough. So I need something like a Hollow One here, I think. So play Inti, play Burning Inquiry, draw 3, discard 3, keep Hollow One in hand. Holy shit, it's Hollow One. Oh! Cast Hollow One. Detective's Phoenix on my own Hollow One. Collect evidence 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. I am stable on the board, or at least stable. Oh, fuck. Detective Phoenix. Fuck, I need to eat that now, don't I? My opponent discarded that. Means I can't keep this back as a blocker. Fuck, okay. Well, at least I'm glad I caught it now. So get rid of Detective Phoenix and maybe a land. Dead to a removal spell, dead to a lightning bolt, dead to another hasty creature. But damn it, we're staying in it. Great Wraith. Sure. DRC. 1 card remaining. I'm not dead yet. Alright, everybody is coming to party. The Hollow One, block Hollow One. Inti gets chump block. Man, that Detective Phoenix that got discarded is going to be rough. So now, Phoenixes are in play. Play land. Ox for 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. Don't Bowmaster me? Fuck. Yeah. I didn't really have an option here. So, Bowmaster triggers on the stack. I can Bowmaster the Bowmaster out of spite, but that doesn't stop the triggers, which are going all at my face, I presume. Yeah, every trigger at my face. That is death. Damn, I fought hard to stay in that one. The Nethergoyf just outpaced my unlicensed hearse. So now, do I want Fell over something like Burning Inquiry? The Burning Inquiries are still quite important to my own cards. Like, we saw that Hollow one spike. I think I'm good with this. I don't think I want Extirpate. Holy lightning bolts, Batman. This does not play a game of Magic, though. I just don't have enough mana here. Second hand feels a little weak. I don't know that I'm going to mulligan it. I've already mulliganed once. I have good things to discard to Inti. I have some Inti value with Street Wraith. I can do a Surveil land in the first turn cycle. I think this is okay here. Land pass. Street Wraith? Shock. I think on average, my opponent's deck is a little bit lower to the ground than mine. I've still got an Inti. I've got an Ox in the graveyard. A little sad that I lost Bowmasters. Bowmasters is pretty good here. My opponent's graveyard isn't stacked. They could still play a Hollow one, though, which would put me behind. End of turn. Let's Surveil land for that additional value. I don't think I need another land here. We'll just put that one into the graveyard. When it gets their Bauble redraw. I do have a Detective's Phoenix in graveyard. I would love to Inti haste at the same time. I think I'm going to do this prior to playing the Inti. If I draw a Hollow one here, my turn changes a lot. Yep. So now I probably just go ahead and play a land. No, I probably don't play the land. I probably keep the land in hand. It's very unlikely that I discard all 3 lands and then do not draw another one. So let's Burning Inquiry, try to keep the Hollow one in hand. Keep the Hollow one in hand. I think this is worth cycling immediately. Or if I draw another Hollow one. Drawing a Mountain is perfectly fine. So play Mountain, cast Hollow one, Surgical Extraction on my Detective's Phoenix, sure. But now I don't get haste, and I happen to lose the other Detective's Phoenix from hand, which is the real kicker. I can Octave Agonas next turn, but that was a better play than it even looked past turn. Opponent has a Nethergoyf in graveyard. The bulk of this game probably happens before that Nethergoyf comes out of the graveyard, though. Okay. Another Nethergoyf in graveyard. Cycle Street Wraith. Does my opponent find their own Hollow ones? No. Ooh. So this is less life. So let's do this. Grab Mountain. Play Adept. Play Ox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. Leave a Street Wraith and an Inti in graveyard. Nice. This is looking real good to me. This is turn 3. Opponent goes to 7. Post combat. Oh, you're not free? I did so many things. I guess pass turn. I drew 3 cards. I discarded, I think, 1 land. All right. Let's see if our opponent can get out of this. 5/6 Nethergoyf is a good start. I do have a menace creature on the ground, though. Lightning Bolt's good. So let's start here. Play Inti. I would be fine trading Ox for Nethergoyf. I think I'm just sending everything in. Discard second copy of Inti here. +1/+1 counter goes on the Ox. Do the Inti thing. It's a Blood Crypt. Okay, no, we get there. No tricks with the 2 remaining mana, at least none that are good enough. By attacking with the Hollow one plus Lightning Bolt is lethal if my opponent does like a block here or something. GG's, that was a really interesting match. My opponent has revealed a Gigantha. I have multiple Flame Blade Adepts without any sort of discard. I have removal spells for creatures, though, against what is potentially an energy matchup. I'm going to try to keep this one. And then hopefully at some point in the mid-game, we draw a Goblin Lore or Burning Inquiry, and all of a sudden we get more than a Lava Axe worth of damage out of that spell, in addition to its other effects. Fingers crossed. I imagine our opponent is going to fetch. No, not going to fetch and do a thing. Don't mind that draw. Do it immediately? I think I'll do it immediately. I can get a little more value out of it if I wait a turn. Well, let's go ahead and bash in for our 2. Cool. Fetch. Mountain. Adept. And Adept. Donde está Goblin lore? That is holy shit. Not energy. Ruby Medallion. Bowmaster's probably looking hot. Yep. Inti is a lot of damage. Did I give up that much damage? Like, Inti is just 4 immediate damage this turn. I need to look at a Modern Storm list to see how many, like, draw discard things they're doing. So, it's actually not that many, because most of these are the go to exile things. The Bowmaster is not as good as I immediately thought it was. I think we are going to Inti. So, attack, send in, Inti trigger, discard a Bowmaster. Oh, so many triggers. Put it on one of these. Let's just always yield to all those. A Blood Crypt. That one's at 10. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just have lethal next turn. I'm gonna just play this tapped. I don't. Actually, for Ral, maybe I do this untapped. JK. Here we go. Ren's Resolve. Not card draw. There is Ral Monsoon Mage, which is why I did the whole Lightning Bolt thing. Ren's Resolve. Glimpsy Impossible is another one of those. I forget what you call them. Rummage draws or whatever. Go to exile, do the thing. So when my opponent casts the follow-up spell here, in response to this Ral trigger, I will attempt to Lightning Bolt and kill the Ral. My opponent could respond with another spell and potentially flip it into the Planeswalker to fizzle this, but that doesn't happen this time. Now we're F6'd, hands off the wheels. We see if our opponent can kill us from this position. We've got more rituals. Valakut Awakening is the replace, right? Yes. I don't have lethal next turn anymore. Due to the Lightning Bolt leaving play, or needing to be used rather. But my opponent's also low on cards, so there's a chance. Planeswalker immediately. Uh-oh. So my opponent just immediately ultimates that. 8 cards going to exile that they get to play for free. Totally fair and good. At this point, I think I'm going to fast forward the turn. All right, a couple minutes later, we have a Grape Shot hitting the stack that is lethal. I'm not going to make my opponent click through that. GG's for giggles. What were my next 2 cards here? I don't get the kill the next turn. Okay. So, Magebane Lizard is probably specifically for this matchup. This is a lot of damage. Unfortunately, this is about the best we can do. Extirpate doesn't sound all that good without discard being paired alongside of it. This matchup isn't going particularly long, so I don't think I like Underworld Breach. I think my opponent just races us on average. I don't think I can win 2 of the next 3 games here. Well, there's a Magebane Lizard. We'll surveil land here. That probably ends up being relevant this game. I think I am okay with that. Like, we've got a Goblin lore in hand already for a little bit down the line. Now, Magebane Lizard has a decent amount of toughness, so it doesn't just immediately eat it to a Lightning Bolt style card, which is, I suppose, good. Now, if my opponent has some other fun removal spell for it, such as life. They bend a ritual that they didn't want. There is a Ral. I would love to find a Lightning Bolt for that. Well, I mean, yeah. I think I'm okay with doing this immediately. There's Blood Crypt. Sure. Lightning Bolt. Target Ral. This is symmetrical, so it hits me too. Blood Crypt. Shock. Goblin lore. Hope to keep Hollow One. Ow. Yeah. Did not keep Hollow One. Magebane Lizard has betrayed me. Dealt a bunch of damage to myself. Didn't even discard the Ox either. Ruby Medallion. Sure. Again, I don't get to impact artifacts with this deck. So, Deuter. I think I just Burning Inquiry next turn. I don't think I'm going to play this land. I think I'm going to just kind of keep it so that I can keep another card next turn. I could be swinging for the fences a little harder here, trying to hit a Phoenix and do damage immediately, but this is just worth so much damage next turn with both Flameblade Adepts attacking. Land drop. Okay, so they're going to try to do some stuff with this Lizard in play, and we'll just kind of see how much damage they are willing to take. This scales up each time. The first one's 1, second one's 2, and so on and so forth. So, like, a ritual into a Reckless Impulse starts to really hurt. Like, I have 9 damage easily with what I can do here. Opponent went into the tank. Now they're making their plays. It is an Abrade on the Lizard. Second removal spell. And then a Grape Shot. Sure. Okay. So my opponent gets some spawn tokens, and I lose a good chunk of my board. The life's relevant. I don't think I am going to Street Wraith immediately. I get rid of it. Arena of Glory is cool here. That means that I can get a Hasty Ox. So Arena... no, sorry, I need to click on this first. Red, Ox. 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had a weird lag burst there. I'm not sure what I just kept in my graveyard. I've had some issues with the magic. Ooh, nice. My opponent right now can block, double block. I get 5 damage in if I bolt an Eldrazi spawn token. I don't think I am going to do that, though. I'm going to leave a Lightning Bolt available for a Ral. My opponent only has 2 cards. Ooh. Okay. Opponent is just taking 5 to the face. That's fine. Second main phase, hollow 1 for 1 mana. Hold up a Lightning Bolt. I don't think I'm going to just bolt the Eldrazi spawn token. I think Ral matters too much. Also, if my opponent's Stomping Grounds, I just boop, send a bolt at face. Alright. Maybe I needed to bolt that because of Past in Flames. Sure. Didn't actually math out Past in Flames. Still think Ral matters a lot, but I don't have matchup reps to know with certainty. Another Ruby Medallion. Grape Shot is a thing here. Yep. There's a Ral. Sure. More Rituals and Wish. Not looking good for me. Yep. Sure. Okay. Grape Shot, Storm, 12, that'll do. Yeah, I can bolt them down to 2. That doesn't quite do it. So if I bolt that Eldrazi spawn, they don't Past in Flames and go immediately. Yeah, I did not count that out. GG's. This hand is great as long as you believe in the heart of the cards like I do, and you just know you're going to draw hollow ones. See? It's so good. Absolutely broken. This deck is the greatest. I also am the greatest. Looks like opponent is playing Eldrazi, and Eldrazi is probably not going to like it when I put 8 power into play on turn 1. But we'll see what they can do. Ancient Stirrings. You've got it. Kozilek's Command. That can make some blockers. Inti off the top, just, my god, double Lightning Bolt. Yeah? I'm okay with double Lightning Bolt. Back for 8. Now, 8 plus 8, that's 16. Plus 6 is dead. My opponent is going to die on turn 3. Talisman. You've got it. Bolt you in response. Down to 8. Fetch. Yeah, holy shit. Well, that was cool. Obsidian Charmaw in Fell was a maybe. I've cut Underworld Breach every round. I will continue to do so. Then Bowmasters afterwards, probably. Again, Bowmasters is something to put on Detective's Phoenix. Fell gets rid of some things that matter, like Glaring Fleshraker. I think we're good with this. And we see if we can get one of these next 2 games. So I have a Blood Moon here. I have an Obsidian Charmaw here. I have an aggressive turn 1 creature with a redraw and an Inti. I think I'm okay with this. but my opponent could just go faster than what I am capable of doing. If my opponent grabs things like forests... Oh, wow, Utopia Sprawl. Sure. Anyway, if my opponent grabs things like forest, then this doesn't actually contribute to the count for this card. I think I like playing an Adept this turn. I think it's Adept this turn into Adept next turn with Street Wraith Cycle, and then hope to Blood Moon on turn 3. We just kind of see how fast my opponent's hand ends up being. A Trinosphere? Sure. That certainly slows me down. Alright. Cycle for life. Make big. Nice. That land is great. Play Theater. Surveil 1. Do I need land drop 4? Do I need land drop 4? Maybe. I'm going to say that I don't need land drop 4. Trinosphere was not something I was expecting, though. That's a little rough. There's Sowing Mycospawn. That's not great for me. Alright, so land drop. I believe that I am Blood Mooning to deny mana here. It denies 2 mana immediately. But the Charmaw also denies 2 mana immediately while also producing a body? That might be more important. Send it. Menace doing menace things. I think I'm going to try to Charmaw now. Blow up the Ugin's Labyrinth. My opponent can return their card to hand. Yeah. Okay. A new Sowing Mycospawn. A new Ugin's Labyrinth. A new thing imprinted under the Labyrinth. I'm going to get my Blood Moon value here. Street Wraiths are really weird right now. I don't think I am into cycling them immediately. If I attack for 4, I get attacked back for 6. I think I'm just going to try to slow down this game. I think I'm going to wait till I can play another creature and then try to do things from there. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I was feeling really good about this game. Now my opponent fogs. That's not the best for me. So let's cycle this. Always yield to that. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. This now costs 3? I think we're good with that now. Past turn, I've got a bunch of creatures in play, and we see if my opponent just buries us with the One Ring. The colored mana is off, which is a big deal, but it might not be off forever. Yeah, because things like that can just happen. All right. I get 1 spell here. I can cycle this and then make my decision, because I think I am Lightning Bolting. Now I'm probably not. Now I'm probably just playing this post-combat. Attack for 8. Almost certainly have lethal next turn. Ooh. Opponent going for the chump. Sure. Second main phase, Hollow 1. Lots of damage, plus also Lightning Bolt. Kozilek's Return. Sure. I still have a lot of damage. My opponent has the One Ring, so they are effectively either at 6 or 5 life. The flyer alone getting through is really, really bad. We'll see what they can do. Rumble. When Sowing Mycospawn can't just get Wasteland and like Tabernacle and Maze of Ith and stuff, it feels a lot more fair. It is a new copy of the One Ring. That will buy my opponent a turn. Sure. Where's my Null Rod? Goblin Lore, that's not exciting. I think I like the idea of playing Inti here. I'll still just attack with a creature this turn. Probably want a +1/+1 counter on this. Question mark, question mark, question mark. This just gets stalled by so many things like this. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's discard a Detective's Phoenix. Put a +1/+1 counter here. The Inti thing is going to trigger. That's not really relevant. So now I have the options of Lightning Bolt and Detective's Phoenix for the next turn cycle. My opponent's at 7. We'll see if they can do something very, very big and cool. Emrakul, the Promised End. Kozilek's Return flashback. That deals 5 to everything. My opponent controls me during this next turn. Thanks, I hate it. Opponent could play Flameblade Adept, Lightning Bolt, Flameblade Adept. Fetch, fail to find. No, not fetch, fail to find. Lightning Bolt, target me. Alright, Trinosphere, so they can't Flameblade Adept and then follow up. Sure. So, do you fly? You fly. That hits me for 13. So, my opponent takes 1. I can't play Phoenix plus something else. Yeah, no, that Emrakul, the Promise End, kills me. Can't double spell. So close. My opponent won through a blood moon and a sinkhole on a creature. Do I need to Bowmasters for the 1 ring specifically? Feels bad for the rest of the matchup, but the 1 ring is kind of dumb. I think I can do better than this. There's the Obsidian Charmaw again. This is fine. I probably keep this getting rid of Lightning Bolt. Let's do our ever so marginal deck thinning, play our aggro threat, and try to get in under our opponent. Sure. 1 mana ramp confirmed good. Cycle. Get big. Shock. Goblin lore. Get bigger. Hopefully don't discard the Charmaw. Did not discard Charmaw. Discarded a hollow one though. Hit in for 5. That's a good chunk of damage, but some of our cards are in the wrong zone. We wanted that in graveyard. We wanted that in hand, and we did not succeed in doing those things. Turn 2 Sowing Mycospawn is fucking gross. Getting some selection. Welp. We take those. Fetch. Mountain. Blood Moon. 1. I am at 14 already, though. Modern mana bases plus Street Wraith. It's a thing. A new Sowing Mycospawn. Opponent overtapped their mana there. Ancient Stirrings. Overtapping the mana was intentional then. Getting a Talisman, so that can give the colorless mana. And my opponent holds back. Spell is not castable under Blood Moon. And our Obsidian Charmaw costs 5 mana right now because these currently do not make colorless mana. So that is a non-bow. I can't cast either one of my 5 drops. We're passing the turn. This is incredibly bad. So colorless mana is online again. Rumble. Oh god. Yeah, opponent taking the Emrakul. Now I just get punched in the mouth for 6 damage. Not great. Not great. I think I need to draw a land here. Okay, there's a land. I would like to play both of my 5 drops, so I guess let's play this one first. Now these are still non-basic lands, despite the fact that Blood Moon is turning them into mountains. We will take out an Eldrazi Temple here. I'm going to, I guess, take my 1 point of damage where I can get it. Game's gonna be rough. Oh? Is this like a Boseiju for a Blood Moon or something? Kozilek's Command. Sure. Going for mana to get to Emrakul, the Promised End. I don't think you need me to tell you that this is fucking bad. So there's the Kozilek's Return. My opponent did not use. They send in for some damage. I'll block 1, take 5. Creature goes away. My opponent controls me during this turn. They can cycle that down to 3 if they would like. The Emrakul is killing me when that thing connects. They do want to cycle. Goblin lore. Oh, they are casting it. Sure. So, no fun things in my graveyard. They can just cast Detective's Phoenix and attack it into Emrakul. Okay, they're gonna attack Charmaw into Emrakul instead. Do you trample or anything? Oh yeah, you fucking trample too. And I'm at 3 life. Thanks, I hate it. And I can't cast my sorcery speed removal spell. Trample is rough. This also just kills me. I am not sure what exactly I am playing towards, but I know how it goes. I send this in. I discard the Ox with Inti so that I can get some additional looks at cards. Hollow one is a thing. I lose that creature in combat. I have discarded 1 card. If I discard this, that's discarding 2 cards, or making Hollow one cost 1 mana. Protection from instance. Still don't know what we're doing about that. This mana might be more important than discarding the extra card. Send some cards out. Draw 3. Nothing here keeps me alive. Cast Burning Inquiry. Do an Inti trigger. Yeah, I can cast a Hollow one, and then I get just got in the air. Detective's Phoenix does not keep me alive. I don't have enough to get through the 13. So that was a fun league. We put up a 2-3 finish that was close to getting some of the other ones. All right, I enjoyed this deck list a lot. This one was pretty cool. I boarded out the Underworld Breach every single round, I believe. I just felt that my matchups were fast enough that it was not a good idea to keep that card in. You know, if you are going super, super long, you get to the point that you have 6 mana and you get to, Underworld Breach a couple of lightning bolts or something. That's perfectly fine and good. But outside of that, I don't know that I'm excited about this card. One of our opponents was playing like some DRCs, some Nethergoyfs, something like that might fit into this deck list. We found some awkwardness, like boarding in Fell alongside Blood Moon was awkward. Boarding in Charmaw alongside Blood Moon was awkward. Like, we actively felt some of that. I don't think that this is a bad deck list. I give this one a shaky thumbs up, but my primary question is this better than just playing a safer deck list? The things that Burning Inquiry is capable of doing with Hollow One is like they're batshit insane by this format standards when things work out. But this seems like a very high variance deck list, and if I am going to be like grinding modern tournaments, I want to play a low variance. Let me say that differently. I want to play a deck that I feel like is going to give me consistent high results, and I feel like this deck is going to give me swingy high results, and I don't think that's what I want. There is something to be said about playing a deck that when your matchups go well, you are incredibly favored versus the field. But this has internal variance that I think is a problem for me specifically. All right. If you like this deck and you want to pick up some cards so you can play it, consider checking out toamagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you a bit on your order, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya.